Hey guys, it's Amy. Today I'm going to show you how to make some beautiful delicate curls using a slightly newer method for me that I hope you enjoy. So let's get into it. Alright, let's get started with our tools first. So the first things that we're going to need are some acetate sheets. Now I've cut these into long, thin strips. You're going to need a pastry scraper comb, so you can have any kind of teeth on this. You can see that the one I'm using is triangular, and it has 3 different size teeth on it. So depending on the one that you use, that's how large or small the curls are going to turn out to be. All right, so we've got our tempered chocolate. So we're going to pour a little bit on and then slowly drizzle it a little bit on the sheet, just so we ensure that we have enough chocolate on there. I tap it down just to spread it out a little bit, but also help it cool down a little bit faster. So for this technique, the chocolate needs to be pretty thick before you start. Otherwise, it'll slide back together when you comb it. Now that we're ready, you can see that the comb draws through nicely and leaves clean lines. So we'll start by holding the acetate and the comb straight on top of it. And then what you're gonna do is pull back on the acetate, trying to keep everything as straight as possible, of course. This does take some practice. Okay, now pick it up and move it to a clean spot and then clean down the area that you were just working on so you can move on to your next one if you want to do more than one. Okay, before we roll the chocolate up to make these lovely curls, we want to make sure that it's not going to get all sticky and messy. So it needs to be matte or just not shiny before you roll it up. So as you can see, when I touch the chocolate, it doesn't leave any kind of residue on my fingers, and that's the perfect time to start rolling. So we'll roll it up and pop it on the tray. Now we'll move on to our next one, and once they're all done, you can put them in the fridge to set. If your room temperature is between 18 to 20 degrees, you don't have to put them in the fridge. You can just leave them at room temperature to set. It'll just take a little bit longer, maybe 15-20 minutes. Now they're set from the fridge. As you can see, I left them in a touch too long, but that's all right. So it's coming away from the acetate, which is fine. Really gently and carefully remove the acetate, and you can break off this little end bit. That is the bit that holds everything in place, but now we don't need it anymore. And now you're just gonna carefully separate the curls. It's kind of a bit of a twisting motion to get them to uncurl from each other. Be really delicate when you do this because they will break otherwise. And some of them are going to break a little bit anyway, and that's okay. You don't need them to be full length. I mean, unless you want them to be full length, of course. But they can be broken into little pieces also. Once you've made these, you can store them in a container for quite some time, as long as your room temperature doesn't go over 22 degrees, and do make sure you keep them out of direct sunlight. So that can be a little bit tricky because obviously the sun moves around during the day, and so if you put them in a place that at 10 o'clock in the morning doesn't get sunlight, it might get sunlight at 3 o'clock, let's say. So just put them somewhere where you know they're not going to get direct sunlight, otherwise they will melt or they might bloom if the temperature gets too warm in the room. In terms of using these, you can use them on top of, if you have large ones, long ones, you can use them on top of big cakes and kind of pile them up for a really beautiful look, or you can use them one at a time on top of small entremets for a really delicate curl kind of finish. You can even do a little bit of gold flake on top of it, or silver flake, or something like that to make it even blingier. All right, that's it. So if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments, and I'll see you soon.